Dear youth, we would like to welcome you to Antalya Diplomacy Forum, where the world leaders are meeting to come up with solutions for the issues across the world. And we are truly pleased to see you all ahead of us. Welcome. Tonight, we will be hosting a session which will be very interesting to you. Deputy Minister of Foreign Affairs, Mr. Selim, will be with us tonight. He is the youngest minister so far in the Ministry of Foreign Affairs. He has huge achievements in public diplomacy. First started in the Ministry of European Union, acted as an advisor, and he worked at the Secretariat General of the Republic, and he was the Secretary General for the former Minister of Foreign Affairs, Mevlüt Çavuşoğlu, and he has been acting as the Deputy Minister of Foreign Affairs since 2021. It's quite a list, as I said. And he is dealing with the subjects of migration, which is a hot topic on the agenda. And also, he's been working in the consulate affairs. Additionally, he is organizing internship programs under the Center of Strategic Research as well as Diplomacy Academy. Without further ado, I would like to give the floor to His Excellency Mr. Minister. Dear friends, welcome to Antalya, the shining sun of the Mediterranean, bringing together the ministers, heads of states, specialists from the think tanks, and the youth. Welcome all. The first one was organized in 2021, and it has been a forum across the world, which is very well known now, discussing diplomacy. Actually, we were planning to have the second one last year this time, but unfortunately we had to postpone it due to the disaster of the century. I would like to commemorate all the losses after the earthquake. And we are honored to host the second Antalya Diplomacy Forum this year. You have been seeing very significant names across the halls and the corridors, and in order to understand this better, I would like to share a couple of details with you. Antalya Diplomacy Forum is actually indicating the critical role our country is playing in international relations. This year, we have 4,680 participants from 148 countries, 19 heads of states, 64 ministers, 20 acting ministers, 57 representatives of NGOs, and the distinguished speakers are exchanging opinions on a wide range of subjects for 3 days. And This year, we have 460 university students from 126 universities across our country. And what makes Antalya Diplomacy Forum different from the other forums in the other countries is that the top diplomats, the ministers of foreign affairs are present here, and this is the only platform actually bringing together those people with the youth. And I am sure that you have been enjoying these opportunities offered to you by Antalya Diplomacy Forum. In 2024, our theme is Advancing Diplomacy. And during this turmoil, global well-being, stability, welfare, and peaceful solutions and coming to a consensus are the main topics we deal with. At a time where ambiguities are increasing day by day, we are seeking an answer to the question on how to best utilize diplomacy. In line with these objectives, we would like to make the best use of diplomacy. However, at a time of interactions and communication, diplomacy now goes beyond it. At this very point, global diplomacy and sports diplomacy are the prominent subjects today. We host a very significant guest who is in the area of culture and sports diplomacy. Esteemed Deputy Minister has mentioned culture diplomacy, and you all know the name who will be hosted on the stage. You may actually use many adjectives for him: an entrepreneur, an international producer, a TV channel owner, but the contributions of his to the area of culture diplomacy is the best thing defining him, actually. Without further ado, I would like to invite Acun Ilıcalı to the stage for his speech. Actually, we all know Acun very well. His contents and his projects are hosted in our houses 365 days a year. He is also undertaking very significant projects and productions in the other countries as well. I would like to address to you, Acun. Acun's works should not only be considered from the weave of TV production. His works are also very significant in the sense of culture and sports diplomacy. And I believe it is highly important to share our experiences with our colleagues. And we know him very well with his commitment to the country. And personally, I consider him as an honorary ambassador of the Republic of Turkey. And with these thoughts in mind, I would like to welcome Acun and thank you very much for not turning us down and agreeing to be with the youth here tonight. Thank you. Thank you very much for your nice words. It is an honor for me to be here with you, and I sometimes leave everything behind to attend some certain organizations, and this is one of them. and I'll be more than happy if I can actually help the people here with my words. I have been undertaking an assertive attempt in the field of sports and TV production, but I believe that we represent our country, and I'm really honored. I will not be humble in this sense. I believe we are representing our country very well in the other countries, and we have had a chance to wave the Turkish flag in those countries as well. Can I make it more interactive with the questions from the guests? He already has a lot of experiences and stories to tell, and I believe that he will share very significant stories with you. This is Eser. It is a classic question. If you were to give us a recommendation, if you could go back to our age, what would you recommend? It's a simple yet beautiful question, and I would be happy to answer this one. When I was at your age, my conditions were so poor that I don't really believe anyone here actually would be like me. I lost my parents in a traffic accident at a very young age. Then I went bankrupt and I had an accident with my bike and my friend died. When I was 24, I really had nothing in the life. And I would say never lose your hope and always look at the positive sides of the life. My trauma was telling me that I will die too. When I was financially poor, I was saying to myself, it will be good by time. So I always looked for something positive in my life. So we have all undergone some negative things, but if you could appreciate the value of having your parents with you, if you can see something positive, there's a lot to smile in the life. I have gone through very negative experiences, and it was my wave of seeing positive things that helped me. This is Ekrem Can. I have two short questions. The TV show is at 9, so we could only see this trailer of the new episode of Survivor. You were saying in the trailer that you will break some news, and I'll be happy if you could share that here with us. And another one. In your interviews on the internet, you always say that you're a very comfortable person and you always take risks. And this is actually difficult for the youth. For example, in one of your stories, you were telling that you slept in your boss's room. But, by the way, it's not a risk, so that was something messy that I was talking about, and it's a very risk that you shouldn't really take. So there are some extraordinary moments in your life, but you still have a very successful career. What do you owe that to? Is it your insight? For example, you are a club owner in soccer, and you are also successful. So do you think it's your intuition or your insight? Briefly about Survivor, now that you are all here and you're not able to watch the new episode of survivor. Let me tell you what's happening today. Something out of mind really happens. The girl's brother sent money to the local workers, and he said, go and give some food to my sister. So that is something out of mind. So this is actually a violation of the rule, and this is like a super violation, and it's an organized crime. It is a planned thing. That's why Aysu wasn't losing any weight. So she got a punishment of 5 rewards. So that is the answer to your first question. The second part, I recommend you not to take any risk. If you take me as an example in that sense, your life will be messed up. If you are to take a risk like me myself, because I am an example that would come in 500 million people. So there is no one else actually who first started as an interviewer and who became a TV channel owner in the end. So you cannot really take me as an example. So of course you will all achieve something in the life, but the most important thing is that I actually started from the scratch. 2 things actually made me take risk. I never did anything for financial reasons, but recently, I have to tell this, I was invited to a conference abroad, and I said I will not go there. They said we will give you very good money. I still said I will not go, and I asked them how much will you give, and I asked for a certain amount of money, and they gave the money to me. So I found myself in a conference abroad. So I was making some suggestions, and I said I never did anything for money. By the way, I had taken my money in advance. I never collected money from anywhere I was invited. Actually, we have set other appointments with him, but we couldn't make it. So I decided to create this platform for him in order to bring him here officially. So I would say don't do anything for money. In my career, money was not the first thing in my decisions. Of course, money is important to all of us, but while taking those risks, I was feeling confident. I was feeling well, so I had a good insight, and that was the thing about the football player as well. I thought that the football player will make a good work, and I asked my team as well, of course, but I always took risks about the decisions on myself. So I counted on myself, and I thought I will do. So I was first an interviewer, a sports interviewer. Then I thought that I should make a TV program by myself, Acun Firar'da. But I was already weaved beforehand, so that was not an insensible decision. I was already checking the ratings. So I was seeing that the people were already viewing me. So then I thought if I make a program on my own, they will still view it. Then I made 3 or 4 programs, and I thought if I bring all those programs together on a TV channel, they will see. So they viewed. Then I thought if I am making it and the people are viewing here, then they will view it abroad as well. So they viewed. So the risks, I actually forbid you from taking any risk until the age of 27. Otherwise, you will sleep in your bus room, and it will be a huge risk for you. I would like to build on this question. In your story of life, You have mentioned your achievements, you've visited many countries, and if you were to compare the perception on Turkey abroad, what would you say? I have been wandering around the world since 95, and if you were to ask me how much it changed, I would say it has changed maybe 5 times or 10 times. For example, in Jamaica, there were 2 hippies, and there was a vote on decline from the Turkish National Assembly, and they congratulated me for our stance. Then our success in soccer and the image of Turkey was empowered, and also Turkey's key role in the critical incidents across the world. Mr. President Erdogan is in the center of all these subjects discussed across the world, and he's acting as a mediator in the conflicts, in the wars, and also he was not intimidated by the others, and he made the others feel the power of our country. And maybe you will know back in the time the people wouldn't even know of the location of Turkey, but I don't really think that there is any person who doesn't really know the location of Turkey. Mr. Minister and Acun Bey, have a good night. I would like to ask you a question about the Turkish culture. You have your TV channels abroad as well, and you have your shows. The Turkish TV series and Turkish programs are very popular. Which shows or which activities or which messages should be taking place in those programs in order to introduce the Turkish culture? Because, as Mr. Minister mentioned, you are acting as an honorary ambassador, and you are actually able to introduce the Turkish culture to the others very well. Well, if you make a program with the intention of introducing Turkish culture, nobody will weave you, and nobody will really listen to you if you want to tell about the Turkish culture. You have to make the right projects to raise curiosity of the people. We're now at an era of communication. The people find us and they want to understand us. If we were to create this system by saying that we will talk about the Turkish culture, and for that we have to make a TV show, then it will not work. But you have to come up with beautiful products, and you have to make sure that they are viewed, and then the name of Turkey will be heard, and then the interest in Turkey will be increased. For example, in Mexico, we made a program and it was ranked the first. The second one was also ranked the first. The third one was also ranked the third. And then we shot the 5th-year program in Turkey, and everyone viewed. We made a show of La Isla, and it was viewed by 7 to 8 million people in Mexico, and all the competitions took place in Turkey. We started in Cappadocia and we went all the way to Istanbul. So we didn't really shut them in Panama anymore. I always say one Turkish person can raise sympathy for the entire country, and that applies to the successful athletes. For example, you know Alperen, a basketball player, and he's actually introducing us in such a way that you can't really achieve if you were to pay, and he's doing that in NBA. He has his own way, he's very sympathetic, and he's 10 times helpful as compared to the others. He's now, no, there's a TV ad in which Alperen was teaching Turkish to his friends, and they have a series of funny videos Alperen is teaching. So it's not as easy as you think, but it is still feasible, but you have to find a professional way.
So culture and sports are tools for diplomacy, and this is why we are discussing this in the first place. What Alperen does and the examples that you give is different from conventional diplomacy. So where conventional diplomacy is stuck, is no longer effective, then they come into play, then they can be effective. That's why these examples are very important. Thank you. Thank you. So while we are at sports diplomacy, I want to talk about Euro 2032. As you know, it will be hosted by our country and Italy. So when it comes to sports diplomacy, how we can benefit from this opportunity much more effectively. So I'm sure there are preparations ongoing, but this is a great opportunity and we have to make the best of it. And this is a great question. So we have to stop everything we're doing and not miss this chance. Sometimes we don't have any means or resources. In some country, for example, you go, there are no facilities, no resources. They do their best to advertise. For example, I've been to El Salvador. Of course, I'm not belittling any country, but geographically we went there and there's nothing. We ran away from the country 4 hours later because we realized that we won't be able to shoot anything. So in Turkey, bring someone from a country in Turkey, he or she can go around for 15 days and they will be shocked. So I have made some acquaintances. These are wealthy people, and they came to Turkey and they told me we have never seen such a country like Turkey. And Mexico, for example. As you know, I've been all around the world. US has geographical advantages. Mexico is a very important country because you have summer 12 months. You have 2 oceans covering the country. There are a lot of cultural events. But if I were to count 10 countries like that, it would be difficult. So US, Italy, Mexico, Turkey are in the same league. I follow the current news, so number of flights, number of tourists coming to this country are going up, I know that. But such events are a great opportunity for that. So we have to make the best of it to further increase these numbers. And I'm sure those who are responsible for the organization will do their best to make that happen. So let's get a question from this side. Distinguished Minister, Mr. Ilıcalı, welcome. This year, Euro 2024 will be in Germany, and our national team will be there as well. So on TV, on online platform, is there a memory that you would like to share with us about such a specific event? So something that I have seen abroad in this event. So I really like football, so I have been in many organizations, many events. We have a lot of entertaining memories. It would take me hours. But for European Championship, we were in the Croatian game, you know. So we were playing.
So they scored the goal at the minute 120, then we went for the penalties, and Croatia scored the goal at 120th minute. 2 friends from Turkey said, damn it. Then Semih scored a goal at 121st minute, but my friends wanted to come back, but they were not allowed to. Then 2 of my friends stayed outside the stadium, and they actually lived the most horrible minutes of their life. You may presume how helpless they were. Then they decided to tell a lie in order not to embarrass themselves. We were talking about the penalties, and I saw them, so I could understand that they were actually telling lies. And I asked them, tell me the right thing, and they said we were not allowed to enter, and that was a funny moment. And such organizations also, I was an interviewer back then. Mustafa Denizli was the coach. I asked for some baklava. There was the camp of the national team in the UK, and I said, bring a big tray of baklava for the national team, and so that our athletes will be in the mood. After the training, I said, our experts have brought some baklava, and he said, it's great. Then the entire team came together, and when we opened the tray, 3/4 of the tray was gone. And I asked Erhan what happened. He said it was so delicious that we couldn't resist ourselves and we ate. So that was a shameful moment for me. So there is a lot of more memories, but it will take 2 hours for me to tell the entire thing. But it's great that we have our national team as in there.
And for Germany, of course, we will have great memories. I don't know how are we going to get memories about that in Germany. It's very difficult. I really love Turkish people working there. They see me and they say, "Isn't this Acun?" And the other one says, "Yes, he is." And if you don't sympathize with them, they take it personally. Of course, I do not want to generalize. I'm very happy when I'm there. I've been to a lot of games there, but they have a lot of expectations for us. And you are not able to project that energy to everywhere. So that's why I'm very tense during football matches. But of course, the environment they're living in, being away from home, I familiarize with them. So that's great. We have a lot of questions. I don't know how are we going to get through all of them. So let's start from this side and then move towards the right. So this is he has a very busy schedule, and we are happy that he allocated this time. He has a lot of engagements and has places to be. So I do have some flexibility. This is a diplomacy, an act of diplomacy I'm trying to do. Thank you very much. As a person who have achieved a lot, what is your biggest goal in the near future? So I have achieved one thing in life. It's probably because of my nature. After I achieve something, I did not settle because I'm psychologically problematic. If I repeat something in business, so in friends, I settle. But when it comes to business, if I spend the second year the same time as the first, then I feel stress. That's the reason why we do things. Because I try everything, I try new things. We bought a TV channel in Germany. We are very excited about that. We bought it just last week. That's why you probably haven't heard. So European Championships are coming. We're talking about cultural and sports diplomacy. We have a channel in Germany, so if you need anything about that. So we want to have a TV8 there. So there's a channel called Sports 1. We bought that and we will broadcast our programs there. But if I were to reset myself, I would probably start with football again. There are 24 teams in the UK. I bought the 20th team, and that was a big risk. Why? 3 teams fall out of the league. So if you become the 22nd, you are off the league. So thankfully, we haven't experienced that. We have transferred football players. So I'm right now like I'm in the time of Acun Firarda. So we are a rising star. We ranked the 6th, and we had a game today. It was so it was an even score, 0-0. So it's not easy to achieve greatly. So our competitives have quite a lot of budget. These are teams with a budget of 150 million euros, and our budget is 25 million euros. So try to beat them. So we need a story for that. So we transferred a lot of football players. So we caught these skillful players early. So you mentioned the perspective of Turkey. So this is a one team and one event. You mentioned those things. Maybe we can do something about that. And I always say the investment that you do, the initiatives that you perform support our work as well. That's why I'm very happy for you. This was one of the biggest shocks, by the way. We bought a team in the UK, and we say, how are they going to perceive us? Are they going to be warm? Are they going to be cold towards us? They cheered us up so well. And we were quite motivated, and so I do my best to make the fans happy. When we have away games, I covered all the expenses. By covering all the expensive, what do you mean? Because you might get a lot of demands because we have a lot of students here. Just to put it out there. If we have any demand, I'm here. I'm here to support. I never run away from anything. How do you track all of that? That's a TT now. They showed me the video. I told them to invite them. By the way, young people love you quite a lot. So you had a reaction towards Alperen Şengün and you went viral. So you have to find something that has a potential to be viral. You have to find a specific subject there. But he talks about Survivor. I will take you there. No worries. So he watched the trailer. He hasn't been able to watch the show. I have to take him there. So from the start, let's get the questions very rapidly because it's quite late. Welcome. So it is great to see you in person. I know that you have a very busy life. How are you so vital, so lively, and when do you think you will stop working this hard? I'm not very lively. I can't say that. Sometimes I don't know. I wake up and I don't know where I am. So I shooted a program at 5 a.m. We wrapped up at 5 a.m. I connected from Istanbul and I slept at 8 a.m. and then I went on a plane at 11 a.m. and I was sleeping on the plane. I sleep everywhere. Of course, I cannot complain because this is a system based on success. And there are some imperatives for that. But there's one reality. I do have a hard time, especially after January. So there's a fight in Survivor, I have to go there. There's a game, I have to go there. I have business here, I have my daughters, I have to see them. So I'm running around between these three spots. Normally I sleep on the plane 2 days a week. This is how I solve it. But as I said, I do not complain. So when you have a plane, because for the most time I would go on scheduled flights and it will drain me. When we were shooting in Panama for the Survivor, we would change 4 flights. So I thank God I'm probably one of the people who uses planes the most. I travel for around 700 hours a week, a month. But how do I make that happen? So today in this country's conditions, there are people living in dire conditions. So I wish God to give everyone strength. They work in very dire conditions. They work long hours. I appreciate them. So compared to them, what I do is definitely a privilege. Welcome. My name is Zeynep. I watch you every day on Survivor. So I feel like I know you very well. So even when I was working for finals, I would hear Murat Ceyhan, I would watch Survivor in the background. So I'm quite familiar here. So my question would be is that I think you have had a great life, a very fulfilled life. So retrospectively, is there something that you regret doing or not doing? Or do you have any recommendations for us? So there's one what if that I have in my life, and that is in the traffic accident where I lost my parents. I thought that I wish I was the one driving the car. So there were 2 cars, my father and mine. If it was a 1 car, I would be the one using it. But then we had 2 cars, and then my parents were going to Bodrum, and they took my daughter. They went together, and normally I was supposed to drive, but I said I wish I was the one using it. But I do believe in faith. I do believe that we have a predetermined path to live. That's why I'm not rebelling against what happened. So this is what God wanted. So this is the kind of life they had. We don't know what's going to happen tomorrow. I have survived 3 very fatal accidents. But even though you are so I say what ifs in career, in business, there's nothing that I regret. One minor thing. My mother and me are very ardent Survivor followers, so if you can invite me as well, I would be very glad. So a lot of people want to go, I'm sure. But that was a spontaneous gesture, and you demanded, then I can't do that. Who would like to go to the Dominican Republic? If I had the microphone first, then I would have told that. Getting the microphone wouldn't give you an advantage. Everyone is equal here. So of course everyone would want to go. Then one suggestion for you. Don't be too demanding in life. Don't be too demanding. If something finds you, then let it be. Don't ask for things. I think that this is a chance. This is how I think. I know that, I understand, but tell something. If it happens, great. If it doesn't, then what to do? Maybe you go there and something bad will happen. You never know. So I believed in destiny in my accident, so you should believe in your destiny in this one. Of course, I wish I could have taken all of you, But there are a lot of people coming to me and asking for that. I wish I had that power to take all of you. Of course, I would have wanted to take you all, but I cannot do that. Good evening, welcome. So I actually met you when I was 14 in your TV program Var mısın yok musun? So my mother was invited for the pre-qualifications. That's where I met. Now I'm 27 and it's great to see you here today. My name is Seda, by the way. My question is about social media. In social media, there's a tag, so living like Ajun. Let's all become like you, like Ajun. In this life standard, is there something that you are aspiring to? Is there something that you haven't been able to fulfill yet? Is there something that you want to achieve? That's a great question. That is a great question. And now I have seen the top and I've seen the bottom. So I have experienced both ends of the spectrum. So there's nothing that I can't do if it's about financial conditions. But this is very dangerous. So when you live, you need a motivation. You want to do something. You want to achieve something. So a certain group of people who have a certain wealth, since they can achieve anything, you see them going sideways. So in my life, I have a certain financial standard. And this is not about me forming an economic life. So if you see, I do programs, I buy teams, I buy a channel, I try to collect ratings. So I'm working in this world. This is how I feed myself and my life. And because of that, I'm able to set other goals. So when it comes to finances, then I'm already fulfilled. If that's the case, then I'm not supposed to do anything. So you can ask me, why do you risk it? But it doesn't matter. So after a certain threshold, everything is the same. But I have seen the bottom as well. I was very happy, by the way. So for a year, I had 0 Turkish liras. I was staying with my friend. So when I said that people don't believe me, I didn't even have 1 Turkish liras. Nothing, not in the bank, none in my pocket, anywhere. So one advantage is that you don't have any troubles. You don't owe anyone anything. I crash with my friends. And then in the evening, we go to his mother's house. So, of course, I have cut my ties with money on 2 occasions. First one is this one. You don't even want to buy anything, but we had great fun. We had great talks, great conversations. This was the most fun year I've ever had. And there was one occasion as well. The 80 million US dollars that Show TV owed me, and I was indebted for some $1 million. Show TV wouldn't give me money, and I would get money from the bank as well. I haven't been able to pay them back. This was before Ciner. So when you have a debt of $25 million, it doesn't matter whether it's $30 or $31 million. And I said, let me buy that car. And Ebru told me, we owe millions of dollars. And I said, it doesn't make a difference whether you owe 30 million or 31 million US dollars. And that was the time where I had great fun, actually. So I have been able to maintain and protect my small world. With my colleagues, we get together, we chat, we play football or we watch games, and we have fun. And as I remember back in the day, there was a round area in Ataköy. We would play football there. and I have set a rule. So it was like the Wembley Stadium. They have just cut the grass, but you would play football, and there were cars going around. So when you score the goal, you have to score it in a specific way that the football wouldn't escape to the road. So when you have that goal, everyone would come up with great techniques. So the one thing that is different is that the pitch is mine right now, but the quality of the football that is being played is the same. So yes, let's give the floor for the question.
You said you saw the bottom. So how did you really manage to go to top again? I went bankrupt, and that was when I saw the bottom. Tansu Çiller was the prime minister back then. I had a store where I was selling jeans on Baghdad Street, and I bought jeans to sell on Baghdad Street with my credit card. So I bought jeans for $30,000. There was this exchange office nearby, and the exchange rate went from 12 to 45, so it went up 4 times. And we didn't have the computer system, we were watching the screens, it was increasing, and that's how I went bankrupt. So that was a good thing to me actually, but I was so poor. The creditors were visiting this store, and I was trying to tell them the situation. Then I had to shut down the store. I had to pay my debts over 2 years. I had to sell everything I inherited from my parents. I had a bike on my own, and I lost everything else. But I was not depressed, because money never made me happy, and it never made me sad. So that's how I was able to save the day. Yes, there are 3 questions over there. Let's take them at once, otherwise we have to stay all the night here. A good night, Mr. Minister, and June. I have 2 questions. My first question is, I really wonder the first moment you thought you succeeded, and secondly, I will not ask you to take me to Panama. I am crazy about Fenerbahce, and I was never able to see a Fenerbahce match. I would like to ask you for a favor to see a Fenerbahce match. My colleagues will organize that for you. Let's
160 başlamış. Geçelim mi? Biriniz.
let's keep going. And what was your question? The first moment you thought you succeeded. In the 3rd episode of Acun Firarda, I was running ahead of the bulls, and 3 bulls ran over me. The first episode and second episode ratings were not good. I said to Shansal I will be running in front of the bulls and watch me on Reuters. He said don't go mad, and I threw myself in front of the bulls and I stumbled. 3 bulls ran over me. So Show TV received the waves, and Shansal couldn't believe in his eyes. I was under the bulls, and he called me and said you were run over by the bulls. They told me that if you lean your head on the ground, the horns will not hit you in the head. So I was able to survive, and that episode was viewed incredibly, and I called Esad and I said I think we pulled it off. And Acun Firarda was viewed a lot then. So that was the first breaking point for my life. I would like to move to the cultural diplomacy field because you are one of the prominent entrepreneurs and businessmen of Turkey. The Turkish TV series are highly important in the field of cultural diplomacy, and I was curious about your views on the steps taken in this field. We are ranked the second in terms of exporting the TV shows. The people think that we are close to TV series. In terms of production, we're not very close to the TV series. It has been only 1 year now. And the points our TV series produces has reached is really amazing. Because our country is strong. A strong country has a good share in advertisement. Maybe we're not in top 10 or top 20 in terms of our income per capita. We are at an average level, slightly above the world average. But when you multiply that by the population, it shows you how big you are. And because we have a big population and we have a vibrant economy, the quality of the TV series has increased incrementally. So with the first TV series being Bir Gece or Öyle Bir Geç Her Zamanki, the script was in the forefront. Then competition started in production, and then we were able to see the outcomes abroad. So the strong country was able to support the industry, and the industry was able to make good use of this opportunity. Without any exaggeration, when you go to the States, the police tells you Fatma Gül'ün suçu ne? In Spain, in the Hispanic part of the States, everyone knows about our TV series. Entire Spain is watching TV series. You know, Can Yaman in Italy. So we have come to a significant place. We are ranked the second across the world, and there is no reason for us not to be the first. It is a very significant industry, actually. And I think more is possible. It is also contributing a lot to us in the countries we visit. It has a very good multiplier effect, actually. Mr. Minister Ercun Bey, good night. Mr. Minister has spoken about sports diplomacy, and we know you are very much interested in sports. Right now, what is the impact of sports diplomacy across the world? And how do you think it will lead us in our world? Let me tell you about the best example, Turkey and Greece. These are the two countries that I've had tensions over the years, but I can't really walk in the streets in Greece, so there is such a huge law. And also Greek athletes, for example Lucas, an important basketball player, Yekas, also saved 3 Anatolian teams from falling from the league. Now we have Fatih Terim. Entire Greece is speaking about Fatih Terim. Sports diplomacy is softening the tension between the countries and bringing together the countries. It also led to a civil conflict in South America. I'm talking about the positive sides. So sports has a very big impact on the people. It is able to bring the countries together. For example, in Hull City, the entire stadium is covered with Turkish flags, and the viewers chant "I love you, Arjun." For example, the Russians are known for being cold people. Abramovich has helped me see the warmth of the people. He's very humble, and he changed my image of the Russian people in my mind. Sports is the best field of sudden communication. For example, in the World Cup, the entire world is waving, and there is nothing else uniting the world so much. You cannot find anything else that attracts the interest of the people, and I think we are very successful. Apart from the anarchy in sports, it has a very significant role in the world actually. Mr. Minister and Acun Bey, welcome. In response to a question, you said you could do anything. Yes, I said I can do anything. I wouldn't say I will do anything. You like winning like any other person. Is there any certain industry you would like to move to, but you are not daring? Not in the sense of business, because I'm into very heavy industries. I have to tell you at length about how difficult it is to manage a football club. It is no different from managing a company of 100,000 people. You have to see very fine details, you have a limit of spending, there are players you have to transfer, the team has to train, you need physician, you need economy, you need sponsor. As for media, it will take another hour. There is no space for me to breathe anymore actually, but I count on my colleagues. I have my friend Fatih Melik, a friend of mine from the childhood. He said we will enter the world of slippers. Are you interested? I count on him. I said to him, if you will report to me every month, I am in it. I believe you 100%. I can see him once a month, and 2 months ago I went there in Erzurum, in my hometown. We opened a factory together. I was really surprised. The minister was with me. I was visiting the factory. He was also surprised, and I was also surprised as I was showing him around. So I will take other moves, but with the people that I count on, but other than that I have no space anymore. We are both in the same condition actually. Good night, this is Celine. Thank you very much for your time. If you were to go into politics, what position would you take? I would go for the Ministry of Foreign Affairs. As I said before, there are people who do very difficult jobs, and I feel thankful as I see them. I respect every political figure across the world, because they are into such attention, and all kinds of problems could happen to them, and I am really astonished seeing them tackling with those difficulties. You have to have steel-like nerves. Even if you have the best intention, you may still see a great pressure. and I really admire everyone. So where would I be? That would be the Ministry of Tourism. I am not a competitor of Mr. Minister of Tourism. Ministry of Tourism and Ministry of Foreign Affairs would be the two sides I would take up. Dear Arjun, we have 261 foreign missions and we are covering almost the entire world, and we have our colleagues working across the world, and I would like to extend my thankfulness to all of our colleagues. You are a witness to them as well, and as the Deputy Minister I would like to thank them. We are always on the side of our businessmen, our citizens living abroad, because our missions are the only place where they are able to meet with these states. I'm forever grateful to them. Let me tell you a memory. I think I have visited 120 countries across the world so far. When I was shooting Arjun Firarda, actually I wanted to investigate that. That's my request. I had my friend Suha, he was shooting photos of the animals, and I was unlucky. I was shooting Arjun Firarda and I asked this man who was hunting leopards. We were looking at the map and there was no digital navigation applications. We were only looking at the map to pick a place. I asked Suha, tell me a place in Africa, you know. He said the Comor Island, you have to go there. So I trusted him. He said there is this hotel you should stay at. We went to Comor Island. There are 3 islands. 2 of them chose to stay with the French, and one decided to become independent. But there is no production on the island, and tourism is very poor, and the country went bankrupt. I went to the island. The hotel Suha mentioned was closed. There was no place to stay. I thought we should take the flight again. They said the next flight is in 2 days. We had to stay on the island for 2 days. We found this guide. I said, how do they wave the Turkish people? And he said, everyone here hates the Turkish people. I said, how come? He said, that's the situation here. And I asked, what did we do to you? He said, years ago, the president of Comor went to Turkey. I don't know if it was an official or unofficial visit. After spending 2 days in our country, he went back to Comor on flight, and 6 hours upon his return, he deceased. And entire Comor Island thinks that we killed the president. I just wanted to have a chit-chat with a small kid, and I asked him, what do you think about Turkey? He said, they killed our president. I was in this marketplace. The seller was saying, kill this new president too, after learning that we were Turkish. He said, kill this bastard as well. So we were really shocked. There was this car, a bus on the street. I said, this bus was broken. How long has it been here? And he said he has been here for 7 years. I said, why don't you remove? He says, they didn't remove. The road was blocked by the bus and the road was on the grass. So this is a very old memory. I would like to receive a note from you about Comor Island. You actually initiated the cultural diplomacy there. Thank you. I'm curious about 2 things. while you're visiting the entire country, what are your top 5 favorite cities? We're always told what we should not do, and I like to learn from you. What do you suggest that we do before the age of 30? Thank you. It is about your tastes, actually. Liking or disliking a city depends on the person, depends on what you look for. Entertainment, peace. Miami is number 1 for me. After Turkey, London would be the second. Barbados is the third. Cape Town in South Africa would be the fourth. And I should say Dominic. That would be a shame for the Dominican people. They are our sisters and brothers. La Romano in Dominic. And my suggestions for the young people. I never compromised on my good intention. A lot happened to me when I was young. The most important thing you need to do until the age of 30 is to find the real friends. You may afford to go abroad, you may not, but the communication changed a lot. During the time of the minister as well, you would be a half person if you didn't see abroad, but if you just scroll on the web for 8 hours, you may see the entire world. But the experience of life is a different thing. My suggestion to you would be to find the right friends for yourself, to choose the right people, to strengthen your bonds with your friends. The biggest wrong in the life would be to stay alone. All my friends from my childhood are now working with me. Everyone I knew back in my 20s are with me now. And I was able to succeed thanks to them. So the nice thing in the life is having people to share your pain and your happiness. Do not become lonely. If you have chosen the wrong friends, just change. If you want to analyze someone, just see how they're treating the others, but not you. Try to analyze and see. You might be a beautiful girl and the guy might be treating you well. He will treat you good anyway. What matters is whether or not you found the right person. Is your girlfriend jealous of you, sharing your happiness, or expecting you to be unhappy? You have to analyze them truly, because these are your innocent ages. Have good friends and prepare yourself for a life to support one another in the future. We are ready. It's on. This is Bilgin. Do not just hold it so close to your mouth. I think this is the right distance. Yes, it's perfect distance. So it's your first time with the mic, obviously. Hopefully you will hold it many more times in your hand. Thank you very much for inviting us, the students, and Acun Bey. Thank you for welcoming us. You have a great success story, but I am very curious about your team. How did you set up the team? You are on the forefront of the success. I was wondering how you really chose your teammates. Very briefly, I was an interviewer when I was working at a lower position, I started working as an office boy. I was able to make the right friendships. Many friends of mine caught my attention. For example, my colleague who was able to analyze my travel expenses and create a good report is still with me. Or the driver, Ismail, is my driver for 20 years now. So I brought them together with my friends from my childhood, and we were able to make it to the top. I have this principle in my life. I don't make the decision by myself. There is a brain team of 7 people. I always say all 7 of us cannot make the mistake. I always listen to my friends. If I am not able to convince them, then I don't go for that idea. I would like to be one of your teammates, actually. I'm now studying international relations. How is it possible to work for Acun Medya as an intern? My colleagues will find you. Where is Selçuk? Selçuk, pick his phone number. Internship is not meaning employment. If you ask your chances, I would say 2%. Coach Fatih sent a candidate competitor to Survivor, and he said, take a look at him, and I said, okay. Then the guy came, and I said to him, if I were to send a player to Coach Fatih, do you think he would recruit him, although he likes me a lot? He said, no, he will not. And I said to him, I cannot let you play now that Coach Fatih says, but you may have this skill and you might be fit for the system. So you have to make extra contribution to the already occupied positions, but internship is fine. You can be an intern. We may go for another 10 minutes, then I would like to leave. The lady over there is waving hand desperately. Let's go to the rear seats. This is Esra. I am a journalist. I never watched Survivor before. There are some countries, and if their leaders leave, they experience very big problems. There are some companies, if their CEO leaves, they may go bankrupt. Things may go wrong. May God give you a long and healthy life. But have you ever thought of this possibility? You mean what will happen if I die? You may not be able to do your job for health reasons, and do you think the empire of Acun will still survive if you leave? Now we're a company of 2,500 people. Murat is presenting Survivor, for example. You may not know because you're not watching. I was presenting Survivor before. I'm not presenting for 3 years. We have this show, MasterChef, and I am not in any part. And it has broken its own record. We are, of course, thinking of that. It's a nice question. While making plans for the future, not everything should depend on me. So we're doing it at our best. The leader of the team is me, myself. Of course, there will be a problem if I am to leave, but that can be handled anyway. I don't really think of the negative sides. I always think of the positive sides. If I were to live with those fears, I could not really make it. Go ahead, please. This is Ipek. Congrats on your new TV channel. I'm organizing football championships for the defense companies Havelsan, Aselsan, and they let workers play. We have our final match on June the 2nd, and I kindly request you to be our media sponsor on your new TV channel. Which new TV channel do you mean? You mean the German channel? Do you like me to sponsor you with my German TV channel? There are many reasons for this, because recently we became the Turkish representative of the military sports, and it is a council for organizing 140 countries' military sports teams. I have to ask my brain team. I have to see what they say, whether or not we should sponsor the competition in Turkey with the German TV channel. I think they will take the channel from me. I don't really make comments when country names are named. I don't really think that it would be possible, but I can be a sponsor myself. Let me submit you an application with my reasons, and then you will see. It's like the Wall-E of Wolves TV show. We have to wrap up in 5 minutes. Arjun's colleagues are here for your requests. If you may ask challenging questions for Arjun, maybe you will not see him in person anymore, you're seeing him on TV. The last 5 minutes. I have a question on cultural diplomacy. With your projects, you have contributed to the relations between Greece and Turkey, but we still have ups and downs. What is the perception of Turkey? What is your observation on Greece? I think the problems between the people of Turkey and Greece is almost zero. And I personally see that. Over the last 2 months, we have reached an interesting level. It is 6 or 7 years in Greece now, and the warmth of the relation is now achieved. I think that both countries need one another. We need Greece, and Greece needs us. The friendship and is really great. I think you are also following, Mr. Minister. The Minister of Foreign Relations should be congratulated for that. In the end, Greece is a country we have to collaborate in different fields. I didn't really see any tension. None of my colleagues ever said I don't like the Greek. And when I visit Greece, I don't feel any tension. Maybe it is about the historical problems being discussed today, or maybe some people with ill intentions are trying to mess things up. I would like to thank Mr. Minister and Mr. President for that. We are doing great over the last months. The positive developments you have mentioned is thanks to the counterparts of Mr. Minister Fidan and Mr. President Erdogan and their relations. Of course, there will be other fields of collaboration, and so far you have also been working with Fatih Terim and Ergin Ataman, and I think they also contribute a lot. I hope that we will have better relations in the future. Two more questions. Pick the questions then.
Merhabalar, adım Medya.
This is Mediha.
Gelecekte televizyon endüstrisinde görmek istediğiniz bir trend veya değişim var mı?
Is there any trend or change you would like to see in the TV industry in the future? To be honest, I like the daytime shows should be changed, including my own TV channel. For the prime time, we have the TV series and the competitions. That is the case across the world as well. But for the daytime shows, I would like to see some more positive TV shows. The people have more than enough problems, and when you see the daytime shows, it's negative things, and that's a critic for myself as well. We should have more positive shows during the daytime as well. Final question. We should always finish with a lady. Let's make a positive discrimination. We count on your question, the final question. In many conferences we have attended so far, the entrepreneurs and the businessmen say sleep 4 hours and it's enough, you don't need to sleep anymore, otherwise you will miss the day. And on the contrary, in one of your shows you said one should not go to office at 8 or 9, and you're against it. So how do you do the time management, and how should we do the time management? Because we're having difficult time on this, with the internships, with the university, with the social life. It's difficult to manage. So, well, the final question is my favorite. I'm totally against waking up early in the morning. I'm against it because I will come to you with scientific data. I will not make that up. I woke up early, I was going to school, I was going to work. I had to endure that, and others should not. Long before, when there was no television around, the night would be around 8, and you have to go to bed because you didn't have electricity, you didn't have power, everywhere was dark, you had to go to bed. 50 years ago, you would go to bed at 8 or 9. And someone said, wake up in the morning and go to work. Does anyone go to bed at 9 or 10? I go to bed at 5 a.m. in the morning. But the people go to bed around 10, 11 or 12. I receive the data. I can see that. So there are net factors allowing these people to stay awake at home. I can see that on the rating reports. I can tell you by heart how many people are awake at every hour. What do we want to do by waking up at 6 in the morning? You wake up at 6, you have not slept enough, then you go to work. Technology has developed so much. There has been advances across the world, and do they not still work? Why do we have to wake up at 6? Did the technology not helping us anymore? You can have your meetings on Zoom. There are developments in communications which we would not even dream of when we were children. So why does the shift work? The shift start at 8 in the morning. It's my view. The ministers and the officials will make the right decision. There might be other parameters that I am not aware of. I agree with that for some certain professions like hospitals, pharmacies, etc. But the regular working hours should start at 10:30. I don't mean to say it should start at 12. If the shift starts at 10:30, you would wake up at 8, you would go to work at 9. I don't mean to say we should sleep until the noon, but there is nothing worth traveling at 6 a.m. in the morning. Nothing will be missed out in 2 hours. With the technology, the shifts should have been shortened. The people can work at home in case of emergencies. The God doesn't allow me to speak. I am about to make a revolution. I have to drink water first. I mean, school and shifts have to be started at 10 or 10:30 so that the people can wake up more peacefully and rested and they can go to work. As I said, we have our activities like TV shows or social media or cinema. It is our nights that we have. After working the entire day, we have only 2 hours or 3 hours for ourselves. Hopefully someday we will do that. Our country has pioneered many things. We're one of the countries with the highest working hours across the world. For some certain areas that might be needed, but it's my perspective that some support is needed for the people to be happier. And I would like to raise this request before the minister once again. I see you as someone who has devoted his life to sports, culture and promotion, and I kindly thank you for your time and for all your experiences you have shared on sports, culture and diplomacy. I would like to thank you on behalf of Mr. Minister. Hopefully we'll have a chance to come together in other projects as well. Thank you very much. I am also very happy to be here. And let's take a selfie before we leave. You may gather in front of the stage and it will be a memory for the day.